Folks, let me tell you about my good friend Todd Nettleton from the Voice of the Martyrs. For over 2 decades, Todd has risked his life to bring attention to the persecution of Christians around the world. Now he's written a powerful book called Faith is Forbidden, detailing his travels and experiences. As a special gift to my listeners, you can get a free copy of this incredible book by simply clicking the link in the description below or call 844-464-3043. Okay, everybody, happy Monday here at the Bitcoin.com mobile studio. Honored to be with you guys as always. You can email us freedom@charliekirk.com and subscribe to our podcast. There is a lot going on. In Texas, we covered this story last week. President Donald Trump is working with Governor Greg Abbott to redraw the congressional maps in Texas. The new proposal would add up to 5 Republican-leaning districts ahead of the 2026 midterms, shifting power in the U.S. House. Now, the entire plan really hinges upon the idea that Hispanics will continue to vote Republican. This is all being done legally. This is completely kosher. And now the Democrats are starting to run away. Why are they running away? Well, Texas law requires 2/3 quorum, 100 of 150 members to conduct House business. And therefore, they need at least 51 members to abstain. Over 50 Democrats have traveled to Illinois and some to New York and Boston, making the minimum quorum impossible and stalling the vote. Most have gathered thanks to the aid of my least favorite person in American politics, Governor J.B. Pritzker, who is giving them a little bit of air cover. Now, they're fleeing the state because, in fact, in most states, the police can force a lawmaker to attend a legislative session. So the only way to avoid being present is to flee the state entirely and therefore beyond their jurisdiction. So the Democrats are fleeing, and naturally, of course, to my home state of Illinois. Well, at least we think they are. Maybe they just got stuck by J.B. Pritzker's irresistible gravitational pull. Now, Illinois is quite a funny place to flee to. This is how you know the Democrats have really lost a step. Of all the states to flee to, you are going to flee to Illinois. Illinois, which is known for their ridiculous gerrymandering. I know it because I grew up as a political campaign volunteer working in the districts in the suburbs of Chicago. And I kid you not, where I grew up outside of Wheeling, Illinois, literally there would be carve-outs of little micro neighborhoods of across the street would be Illinois' 9th congressional district. We would be in Illinois' 10th congressional district. And then literally on the stone throws away would be Illinois' 8th congressional district. All kind of weirdly conformed. It was like a gender reassignment surgery met a congressional map. So of all the places, you look on screen, just some of the examples here. It looks like a Jackson Pollock painting. Look at the entire map. Just random streaks of color across your screen. That's where they're going to go fight gerrymandering. Illinois is the worst offender of all the states across the country. Again, just look at Illinois' 13th congressional district up on screen. It's basically a 15-mile wide strip connecting 5 different Democrat cities across 300 miles, from East St. Louis through Springfield to Decatur to Urbana-Champaign. The Chicago area is a massive mess, and I know this. I lived through it. The lines snaking all across random districts. Black district here, Hispanic district here. Let's show up some of the other pictures on screen, guys, of the other maps. So Democrats are howling. There you go. That in Illinois. If you could zoom in on Cook County, Illinois is the Wuhan Institute of Virology of gerrymandering. They invented it and they brought it to the rest of the world. Good old Mike Madigan. Do you know who Mike Madigan is? Oh, Mike Madigan was Illinois Speaker of the House. I don't know if he's still alive, but he got arrested finally after nearly 50 years of naked corruption running the entire Illinois House. Remember, we used to say, Illinois is not broken, it's fixed. A crook. He would hold the power over the Illinois gerrymandering maps as a way to try to prevent Republicans from getting more representation. Now, if you're a bit older, this might feel a little bit like, haven't I seen this movie before? And it should. Remember back in 2003, Texas did another redistricting effort, and Democrats fled en masse to Oklahoma, then to New Mexico. But, of course, in essence, they had to come back. In 2021, Texas Democrats fled again, trying to block election integrity laws. They failed again. This will be a failed effort. And do you remember back in 2011, Democrats fled Wisconsin when Scott Walker was governor to go to Illinois. In 2011, 14 Democrat state senators fled Illinois to block a vote on Scott Walker's union reforms. They had to cross state lines instead of facing a debate, and Scott Walker ended up winning. This is Cook. Yeah, that's the excerpts of Crook County. Put that up, 294. Put 294 up on screen. Does that make any sense to you, especially on the upper right hand of your corner? Look at those little slivers, the deformity of these districts, especially on the right side of your screen. There is no rhyme, no reason, no harmony. There's nothing behind it except pure naked political power grabs. So Illinois has the worst of all of it. At first, when I saw this, I thought it was a flood map. I thought it was like, this is different parts of Cook County that have different flood thresholds. So this is the state that is hosting the Texas Republicans. And I got to give some credit to the Texas Republicans. And let this be a message to Republicans across the country. More of this, more hardball, more being willing to use political power to stop the Democrats from running roughshod over us. More of this kind of energy. When they come back to Texas, if they violated laws, arrest them. Fill their vacant seats. The main crux of this is something called coalition districts. It's basically intersectionality weaponized to reduce Republican representation. They combine minority groups to box out conservatives. And again, put 294 up on screen. On the upper right hand of your screen, you see they'll do this and they'll kind of carve in. So traditionally, DuPage County in the suburbs of Chicago was very Republican. So what they did, this was old Judy Biggart's congressional seat. What they did after the 2010 census is they would configure enough of Chicago to go into DuPage to dilute representation. Or how about Illinois' 10th congressional district, which used to be represented by Mark Kirk, who became senator, and then Bob Dole. No, they had to give some of Illinois' 10th congressional district with some of Evanston. You get the point. They have to try and disfigure these districts in a way to dilute Republican voice and representation. 4 of Texas's congressional districts were unconstitutional, the Department of Justice warned a couple years ago. 3, the 19th, 18th, and the 33rd. They were unconstitutional coalition districts where black and Hispanic voters combined to form a majority. The 29th, while a majority Hispanic, was also unconstitutional, the letter said. It said, quote, "It is well established so-called coalition districts run afoul of the Voting Rights Act and the 14th Amendment." Assistant Attorney General Harmeet Dillon wrote, threatening legal action if Texas didn't bring the districts into compliance. Now, here's the funny part. So the Department of Justice has called these coalition districts unconstitutional. 5 years ago, Democrats would have been thrilled with the new Texas map. Can we put up the proposed Texas map? 5 years ago, Democrats would have been like, yes, this is a great map. But do you know what changed? Donald Trump moved the Hispanic vote 10 to 15 points. So this new map actually gives more representation to Hispanics. Now, it's a gamble. This is a Texas gamble. This will be known as the big ol' Texas gamble. Win a big prize or lose everything. It's a big roll of the dice. It's the Texas Gambit. And you could tell because what it is more representation to Hispanics that voted very right-wing in 2024. So be careful, Texas Republicans. You have a little bit of caution. You really have no choice but to do this. But it is a gambit. It's not rock solid. Now, if Hispanics keep on going our direction, we could eliminate the Democrat Party in Texas for generations to come. So Democrats are either fighting this because they think the theater helps them or they know it's a real problem. And it's just pure theater. That's why J.B. Pritzker, he wants to run for president. And J.B. Pritzker has never ran for anything in his life. So it'll be the first time the man has ever run when he runs for president. It'll be quite a sight to see because he has never run, ever. The man has never, ever had anything even more than a light brisk of a pace walk. Man was born on third and thought he hit a triple. He's a nepotistic slob that ruined my home state. Besides that, he's a lovely person. So the Democrats are reacting predictably. The extremely classy, very polite, let me just tell you right now, men out there, do not marry women like Jasmine Crockett, okay? Just What that whole thing, just stay away. She's just big problems. Just the whole ensemble, whiny, yammering. The whole way she presents herself, smug, terrible, nasty, cruel, wrong, dumb. The whole operation, young men, better for you to become a Catholic priest. I'm just going to tell you right now, avoid that entire freight train because it is a-coming. The Jasmine Crockett shtick. It's why a lot of young men are checking out of the dating pool because young ladies say, I got to act like, I mean, they don't say they want to act like Jasmine Crockett. But this whole thing she's got going here. And apparently we're all Anglos now. Okay, I guess. It's a badge of honor. I don't know. She calls it, there's no longer white. You see, they're trying to change their vocabulary. It's no longer white majority. We're Anglo majorities. Okay. Yeah, I am a WASP. What are you going to do about it, Jasmine Crockett? Does that make me bad? Does that make me racist? Play cut 270.
What this legislature is consistently been found to be guilty of doing, which is to make sure that they can do an overemphasis of Anglo voices in this state. Only 40% of this state is Anglo, yet somehow we have more than 60% of our seats that are elected by Anglo majority districts. As I said in 2021, as I argued against these maps, the math ain't mathing.
Okay, again, so first of all, this is just white hate, pure and simple, naked hate of the white race. Yeah, by the way, that's the connective tissue, right? The Sydney Sweeney thing, the war on white people is so clear. And I'm sorry, Jasmine Crockett, what do you have against white people so much? You talk about them all the time. All the time. Play cut 272. This is Josie Garcia trying to say that these seats are for blacks. Play cut 272.
Do you know how many black seats there are in Congress for the entire state of Texas, ma'am?
No, ma'am, I don't. I
There
do
are
not know
5.
if there is a black seat or
There
a
are
Hispanic seat.
historically black serving seats, ma'am, and of the 5 that there are that represent the entire state of Texas, of the 30 and plus, 3 of them were set to be dismantled. So I'm just curious. Of the 4 seats that were identified, 3 of them were historically black seats. 1 of them is a historically Latino seat.
Okay.
You don't see the race in there.
No, ma'am, because I don't think a seat belongs to any race.
Okay, interesting.
First of all, that woman's got to stop chain smoking. Her voice is completely destroyed, and it's very unattractive. She smokes like 3 packs a day. Again, what are we doing here? The reason why young men are staying single hour? I mean, how many more cuts can we play here? Like this, first of all, young men don't like to take orders from women. They definitely don't want to take orders from women like that. That's like supremely unattractive to men. At the core of the Democrat Party is a coalition of resentment, envy, and hate. None of this is racist. In fact, this actually expands representation of Hispanics. The entire project is actually about expanding voices to Hispanics that are now voting for Republican. Oh, and by the way, just so we're clear, Jasmine Crockett's district, you're getting eliminated. Sorry, you're going to have to go be an influencer. Jasmine Crockett, what skill set does she have? I think we all know. Let's play another one. This is her yelling that the maps are racist. Okay. No. Anglo racism. 271.
I don't think that it's an accident that Donald Trump picked up the phone, called down to Texas, told Abbott what he was going to do, and like a small, ridiculous child, he just fell in order. I don't think any of that was an accident. This is racist, what they are doing.
Give your life to Jesus, because I'm convinced in the 7th circle of hell that is just played on a repeat. It's just on total repeat. The shrill, the yelling, the screaming, the yammering, the caterwauling. The great replacement of white people is far more sinister than any redistricting project. That is at the core of the Democrat project, at the core. And Jasmine Crockett is just some circus act in that entire operation. But it's deathly serious. You shouldn't take what she says seriously. It's just a joke. What she represents is very serious, which is the continued attempt to eliminate the white population in this country.